Tonight, a 2-year-old girl, swollen and scared, but safe in her mother's arms again. Her alleged attacker behind bars.
A mid-air struggle forces a flight from Perth to Auckland to make an emergency landing.
A kiss for the King as Commonwealth leaders gather in the Pacific.
The place to be. WA passes the 3 million people mark, our population booming.
Commute times down south slashed. The new Bunbury bypass finally opening in time for the Christmas holiday rush.
And a Perth toddler's important legacy after choking to death on a grape. We're live to Joondalup.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Susannah, Carr and Ardon.
Good evening. A woman who was the most wanted person in WA yesterday has gone before a magistrate. She didn't say much, simply giving a thumbs up after a delayed court appearance.
Pamela Jetta is accused of randomly punching a toddler in the face at East Victoria Park. The little girl's mother says her 2-year-old is swollen and scared, but is handling the awful situation like a real champ.
The CCTV is sickening and the response was swift. A little girl hit in the face by a stranger while in her mother's arms. It happened at an East Victoria Park shopping centre on Tuesday. Within minutes of the attack, Pamela Jetta became the most wanted person in the state. And after a 22-hour-long manhunt, she was arrested in Mirrabooka yesterday. The 21-year-old faced court this afternoon wearing a blue forensic jumpsuit. Her appearance was delayed for hours so she could undergo a mental health assessment. In the end, no hospital order was made, and when the magistrate asked if her name was correct, she didn't speak. She just gave her the thumbs up. The court heard today Ms Jetta is no stranger to prison and the mental health facilities offered behind bars. She even called out to the magistrate as she was led out the dock, asking which prison she'd be remanded in. The little girl's mother, relieved her daughter's alleged attacker is tonight behind bars. Posting on social media, "My little one is a real champ. She only has some minor swelling around the eye and cheek area. She knows that something that shouldn't happen to her has happened, but is otherwise okay for now. Just extra cuddles every night." Her mother's arms back to being her safe place. Rachel Tassakar, 7 News.
A mid-air struggle has forced a flight from Perth to Auckland to make an emergency landing in Melbourne.
The WA man at the centre of the takedown faced a Victorian court today. Outside, he told aviation editor Blake Johnson he can't remember a thing.
Pinned to the floor of the galley, one passenger is held down by another. A crew member has just been injured and the flight from Perth to Auckland is diverting to Melbourne. That's where federal police get on to drag the allegedly drunk and unruly man off. A flight most passengers won't forget, except one.
Run us through what happened.
I can't remember.
Swaylin Barton Cooks is 23 and lives in Perth. The New Zealand national is charged with assaulting a crew member. The maximum penalty, 20 years jail.
What happens next?
Life's changing. Wake up. Be a better person.
Air New Zealand calls the incident unsettling. Its cabin crew member had minor injuries.
Once free of its allegedly disruptive passenger, the plane took off from Melbourne again, landing in Auckland just 90 minutes behind schedule.
Mr Barton Cooks is now a long way from home, stuck in suburban Broadmeadows.
You guys know where the nearest train station is?
I don't.
He's back in court in the city Monday. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The Prime Minister is feeling the heat tonight from Pacific leaders who say they're facing a death sentence from fossil fuel emissions.
Anthony Albanese landed in Samoa after the King and Queen, who were given quite the welcome.
Comfortable in the land of kings, a wet and wild welcome for their majesties in Samoa. King Charles at home at a ceremony reserved for monarchs. Meeting chiefs and villagers in Samoa ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the King's first as sovereign. A warm and traditional welcome for the King and Queen, showered with gifts, an entire pig carried by chiefs, dried fruit and flowers too.
May the good Lord be with you and may you have a pleasant stay here in Samoa.
Queen Camilla championing gender equality.
Women will turn their hands successfully to any task that must be done.
The King's lifelong passion, action on climate change, top of the agenda.
This is the first time a Pacific Islands nation has hosted the Commonwealth, and leaders here have been quick to tell our Prime Minister he needs to do much more to combat climate change and the rising threat of sea levels.
To put it plainly, it is a death sentence for us, Tuvalu, if larger nations continue to increase their emission levels.
Climate change is, of course, an existential threat.
The Foreign Minister committing to change.
We're up for that.
Anthony Albanese landing in a tropical storm of his own.
Isabel Mullen is in the Samoan capital Apia. Isabel, the summit comes as China issues a warning to Australia.
Good evening, Rick. China has said we are hypocrites and should stop talking about their human rights abuses when we are guilty of our own. This is deliberately timed by Beijing, who are keeping a very close eye on our talks with Pacific leaders at this summit. It comes as Anthony Albanese works to strengthen ties with the Pacific, something that China would also like to do. He says we can agree to disagree as the battle for the Pacific really heats up. Sue.
Isabel, thank you. Lidia Thorpe has defended her place in Parliament despite now claiming she never swore an oath. The senator says she said heirs and not heirs when swearing allegiance to Queen Elizabeth, but constitutional lawyers say she also signed an oath.
That's what the test roll does. It tests your allegiance by requiring you to swear to that in writing.
The very issues that I raised with the King, I need to bring those into the Parliament of this country.
Senators are understood to be exploring legal options to discipline Ms Thorpe.
Donald Trump's former chief of staff has broken his silence as the race to the White House reaches the pointy end. The retired Marine general claims when Trump was in power, he commented that Nazi leader Adolf Hitler did some good things.
He's long said he plans to be a dictator on day one, and today Donald Trump's own former chief of staff said he has all the characteristics of one.
He's certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators, so he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist.
That included praise of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, according to retired Marine General John Kelly.
He commented more than once that that Hitler did some good things too.
Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and unstable.
Vice President Harris using the general's claim to sound the alarm for undecided voters.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Donald Trump said, why aren't my generals like those of Hitler's?
Tonight, though, blunt denials from Donald Trump.
This will be America's new golden age.
His camp accusing General Kelly of beclowning himself. He's suffering Trump derangement syndrome, a spokesman shot back. Still, it'll be too late to change the minds of a record 20 million early voters across America. And now, just days out from polling, House Democrats are also accusing the Trump campaign of failing to commit to a transfer of power process. These are long-set precedents ensuring that transition is smooth and peaceful. In Chicago, David Woywood, 7 News.
Kamala Harris appears to have avoided a nasty head-on collision by mere metres. Traffic cameras captured an allegedly drunk driver heading the wrong way down a Milwaukee interstate highway. Moments later, he zipped dangerously close to the Vice President's oncoming motorcade. He was taken into custody.
Turkey has launched airstrikes on Kurdish targets in Iraq and Syria after terrorists launched a deadly attack on a key government facility. 5 people were killed and more than a dozen injured after an armed man and woman went on a rampage.
On the outskirts of the Turkish capital, a terror attack begins. An explosion rocks the defence facility, then gunfire commences. Seen on security vision, 2 armed attackers, 1 male, 1 female, exit a taxi after killing the driver and begin firing at unarmed workers. Continuing their assault, they enter the building, rifles still shooting. It's inside more innocent lives are lost before authorities react. Special operations moved quickly, and within hours the two attackers were neutralised. But not before 5 people were killed and more than 20 injured. The target was Turkish Aerospace Industries, a state-owned defence facility that manufactures military aircraft. No one has yet claimed responsibility, but Turkish authorities have their suspect, a Kurdish separatist group. We have a strong opinion that this is the PKK terrorist organisation, the Interior Minister confirmed. There had been recent rumours of peace talks between the Turkish government and Kurdish separatists. But now, Turkish jets are bombing Kurdish sites in response to the attack. In London, Joel Dry, 7 News.
The Health Department has blamed a power outage for a widespread shutdown of hospital services overnight. The first of several IT disruptions was around 7:45 last night and continued until 6 this morning. Both clinical and non-clinical areas were affected.
We've now seen the second IT outage in 4 months under the Cook Labor government. Increasingly, a government which is seeing hospitals rely on pen and paper rather than computers.
Health Minister Amber-Jade Sanderson said the new State Operations Centre, which comes online on Monday, will reduce the impact of power cuts and IT outages.
The WA Police Union has dumped its president in the middle of pay negotiations with the state government. News of Paul Gale's axing came on the day the union rank and file rejected an amended pay offer from the state government. Mr Gale, who's held the job for only 16 months, says he was dismayed by the board's decision.
Yes, it is with a heavy heart that I will finish my time here at the union, but I expect it to be continued in good hands.
Mr Gale will be replaced by the union's Senior Vice President, Dave Flaherty, in November.
Western Australia has recorded a massive milestone today. There are now more than 3 million of us.
According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the state's population has now reached the milestone thanks mostly to overseas migration. James Carmody unpacks the numbers.
Baby Pranisha is our newest West Australian, born today at Armidale Hospital as our state hits a new population milestone, 3 million people.
We're just happy to welcome our new daughter.
There were 31,000 babies born here in the 12 months to March. That's one every 16 minutes and 44 seconds.
And I'm so happy to meet her. Yeah.
We reached 2 million people in 2005, and the state has grown up fast in the past 2 decades, adding 90,000 people last year alone. WA has a growth rate of 3.1%, the fastest in the nation.
We need more density, which can be built faster, but of course requires a change of mindset.
We also bid bon voyage to a West Aussie moving overseas every 22 minutes, interstate every 20 minutes. Just over 10,000 East Coasters made the sea change west in the past year. By far the biggest driver of our growth is overseas migration. We welcomed almost 65,000 migrants in the 12 months to March.
A growing population means there's more workers that can go and work in Western Australia. It also means a greater demand for our goods and services that can help support, for example, small businesses and business activity.
The Premier has flagged he wants to see WA's regional cities growing faster to ease the pressure on Perth, with just over 20% of our population right now living outside of the metro area. In the next 12 years, WA is expected to grow by another 500,000 people. Our business leaders welcoming this growth.
Population growth has been critical in supporting our economic prosperity. With ongoing labour constraints, we need skilled migration. This needs to be coupled with investment in infrastructure to underpin a productive and vibrant economy.
The ongoing challenge, making sure all our new West Aussies have somewhere to live that they can afford. James Carmody, 7 News.
Sam Jolly joins us now, and it was hotter than expected today, Sam.
Well, Rick, some of our suburbs were in the 30s today. For the city, we made it to 29.6 degrees. That was at 12:30 this afternoon, following an overnight low of 11. It was even warmer in some spots like the Swan Valley, Ellenbrook and the airport, 31 degrees today. But a big difference along our coast. It was only 22 for Hillary's, and we had 24 along the coast in Mandurah. It is about to get a lot hotter, though. We have a spring heat wave next week. Monday, we're heading for 33 degrees. Tuesday, 35. Wednesday, a scorching 37. Then another 37-degree day on Thursday. And the nights will be hot too, 21 and 22 degrees. We could get close to a couple of records there. Our hottest ever October day was 37.3 degrees. That was back in 1967. Our hottest night, 22. And the reason for the heat will be in a summer pattern with a high and a west coast trough deepening. I'll be back soon with a look at how our weekend is shaping up, Rick and Sue.
Thanks, Sam. And still to come on 7 News, an emotional confession.
An Australian radio star opens up. Jackie O reveals her private battle with addiction.
A faster commute for Perth drivers heading down south when the new Bunbury bypass will open.
How Australian banks are using AI to fast-track home loan approvals.
What's at the top of the Christmas wish list? Nothing gets past these toy testers.
And later, why top-end dining venues in Perth are becoming more affordable.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.
The new Bunbury Outer Ring Road will be open to traffic on December the 16th in time for the Christmas holiday rush. The Wilman-Wadandi Highway is 4 lanes and stretches for 27 kilometres. It means drivers can bypass Bunbury. They'll avoid 13 sets of traffic lights and will shave 20 minutes off the journey to and from the southwest.
One of the reasons it was needed is because of the significant congestion for residents of Bunbury and surrounds moving around their suburbs.
The highway will carry around 15,000 cars a day.
Radio star Jackie O has revealed the truth behind why she stepped away from the spotlight in 2022. In an emotional confession live on air, she admitted to secretly checking into a celebrity rehab centre to fight off a serious drug addiction.
Coming clean, a tearful Jackie O, the radio star revealing her secret struggle.
It's actually about something that I feel I haven't been very forthcoming about or very truthful about.
In November 2022, she told listeners she was taking time off to recover from long COVID. The reality, she was seeking help at California's high-profile treatment facility, the Betty Ford Centre.
To treat the substance dependence and drug addiction, I've been able to keep secret for 3 long and painful years.
Consuming a dangerous daily cocktail of alcohol and dozens of sleeping pills and painkillers. Even long-time co-host Kyle Sandilands was kept in the dark.
Are you okay? I am okay, yeah.
The very fact that she was able to go over and do that rehab in the United States was a great thing for her, but also even better that she was able to keep it quiet until today.
The Betty Ford Centre is popular with Hollywood A-listers and has treated stars including Lindsay Lohan, Robert Downey Jr., even Keith Urban, with treatment costing tens of thousands of dollars.
Not everyone can afford to go to the Betty Ford Clinic, but she certainly could.
Her book comes out next Tuesday.
I know I would regret it if I hid it away and wasn't honest about it.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Israel's offensive against Lebanon is showing no sign of slowing. The latest target was Beirut's southern suburbs. It was pounded in a wave of explosions on what reporters called a very violent night. At least 6 buildings were hit. They include the empty offices of a pro-Iran broadcaster.
An Argentinian driver has found out the hard way just how destructive sinkholes can become. He was driving through a storm unaware of the gaping hole ahead of him and fell in. The 47-year-old escaped without serious injury.
And ahead tonight, the Perth residents who say their street has become a death trap.
The latest crash that could have killed someone. Who was inside this home when a Mazda sedan ploughed through an intersection.
Plus, which northern suburbs Perth Council is planning to install anti-choking devices at its community venues.
Also, why it's becoming more affordable for Perth diners to eat at high-end restaurants.
The Australian family who's playing a key role in the worldwide treatment of a crippling disease.
And later, what's on top of the toy wish list this Christmas? A Northern Suburbs council will become the first in WA to install life-saving anti-choking devices at city parks, beaches and buildings. Lucy Murray joins us now from the city of Joondalup. Lucy, this change has been campaigned for by a heartbroken family.
That's right, Rick. A little toddler died at the Iluka foreshore earlier this year. Little Zaza choked on grapes at a family picnic. Despite his father's first aid, he died in just 4 minutes. Since then, his father, Brian Boyger, has campaigned for these devices to be installed around the city. The life bags cover the mouth and nose and, if pumped correctly, dislodge anything stuck in the airway. This week, Council agreed with Brian the life-saving devices are worth the cost to taxpayers. $5,200 will be spent on 38 devices. They'll be installed next to defibrillators. Now, the little boy's father says this is their way of honouring little Zaza and hopefully helping others. Sue?
Lucy, thank you. A driver has been lucky to escape serious injury after his car left the road and smashed into a home in Perth South. The house in Cannington was badly damaged in the crash last night. Local residents say the intersection at Crawford and Grey Streets is dangerous and a crash hotspot.
I did hear it, but I didn't come out. I thought, we just know the direction it's coming from. And as I said, it's almost weekly. Someone is going to die, and it's only a matter of time.
The 26-year-old driver was issued with a careless driving infringement.
Dining out at fancy restaurants is off the table for many West Australians as the cost of living bites. Perth's top-end establishments are having to rethink their menus and pricing, now offering a taste of luxury without breaking the bank.
Paul Wilson knows he's got his work cut out for him.
More butter, chef.
Taking over one of Perth's top kitchens.
Bit of the research and heard about Wildflower, and I've always seen that it's up there. It's one of the best restaurants in Australia.
The Sydney-born chef has taken his talents global, cooking in Copenhagen, Fiji, even for a royal family in the Middle East.
For 5 adults and 12 kids. Wow. So when the chefs, I had about 40 chefs working for me, about 12 were cooking every night.
At times, plating up the peculiar, like this medieval camel dish.
We had to stuff it with a lamb, which was then stuffed with a goat, which was then stuffed with 8 chickens, stuffed with some turkey meatballs.
And while there's no hidden humps on Wildflower's menu, Paul hopes to bring in new flavours.
I want to use the things that people haven't seen before, like emu, kangaroo, wallabies, crocodile tongue.
The 8-course tasting menu will set you back $230 a head, but fine dining doesn't have to break the bank. The restaurant also offering a lunch special, 2 courses at $69.
We really want to make sure that Wildflower is experienced by everyone and it's not just a special occasion.
But it's not just Perth's top-end establishments that are changing things up to bring in customers during a cost of living crunch.
It's no different to your local pub having a $25 palmy special on a Wednesday. It offers more price-conscious customers a way to get a more affordable meal.
With a side of indulgence. Francesca Denuccio, 7 News.
The WA Museum has come under fire for acquiring a controversial piece. The Art Gallery of WA has handed over the perspex that covered Frederick McCubbin's Down on His Luck during a graffiti attack. The precious artwork was spray painted with the yellow Woodside logo by protesters. Members of both sides of government today criticised the decision to keep the perspex. The museum says it represents an issue that affects our society.
Australian researchers have developed a world-first test to predict your chance of developing blood cancer. They don't even need a blood sample. All it takes is 60 strands of hair.
Christian Remisa is from one of just 13 families around the world who carry a newly discovered gene mutation.
For my family, the discovery means that we've been able to get some closure. As my mum passed from acute myeloid leukemia.
This is really quite a unique breakthrough. We've identified a gene called ERG.
ERG deficiency syndrome. It's equivalent to the BRCA gene for breast cancer, but this gene is linked to bone marrow failures and leukemia.
It's the implications for this long term in terms of how we can treat patients and prevent them from actually developing blood cancer.
Initially, I went to the GP to get a routine blood test, and we found that I had a low white blood cell count.
That and Christian's family history led pathologists to dig deeper. He became the first to test positive to the mutation. Now the genetic test is available worldwide. Your GP will refer you if there's a history of blood disorders, but to confirm the result, they'll need a DNA sample.
60 hairs were required to be collected, which my partner had great joy in procuring for me.
We believe it's quite rare, but it's hiding itself in blood samples, and most laboratories work from blood. They don't work from hair like we did for this study.
A bone marrow transplant is a potential cure, but it comes with a lot of risks, even death. Researchers are hoping to find much gentler treatments. Christian's opted out of a transplant and says he'll take his chances for now. Casey Trelaw, 7 News.
And you're watching 7 News live from Perth. Still to come.
How the big banks are using AI to fast-track your home loan approvals. Thousands of jobs under threat as the technology takes over.
The Perth couple who've retained their title as our richest young Australians, how much they're worth.
Parents, get ready to take notes. We reveal the toys at the top of Christmas wish lists.
And coming up in sport, cricket's here, the summer ready to sizzle. We catch up with Aaron Hardy and Beck Grundy. Plus, old dog, new tricks for Saints recruit Jack McRae.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Taking a look at finance, and the ASX has closed down almost 10 points today. WiseTech led a tech sell-off before the company's CEO stood down after the closing bell. Gold is trading at $2,717 an ounce. Iron ore is down at just over $98 a tonne. One Australian dollar is currently buying 66.48 US cents.
Australian banks are considering bold new measures to address the nation's housing crisis.
It includes the use of AI to speed up mortgage applications and a dramatic increase to how much we can borrow.
Big banks with a big idea to unlock the nation's housing market.
This could give more buyers a leg up when it comes to purchasing their first home.
Most loans are currently priced around 7%, but banks are required to stress test borrowers in case rates rise, adding an extra 3%, which locks many applicants out. A parliamentary inquiry into home ownership today told bringing down that borrowing buffer would
allow first home buyers to be able to compete for houses where they want to live.
Lenders also weighing up a shake-up of how they apply.
AI is definitely becoming a part of the home loan industry.
Trialling the use of artificial intelligence to verify and categorise complex documents. What takes a human 45 minutes to read could take a machine 5.
Thousands of jobs in the finance sector are under threat from AI.
A recent study showed more than half of Australians are uncomfortable with AI assisting in their mortgage application. 15% wouldn't allow it, while the same amount said they're in favour of it. Most of them young first home buyers, who mortgage brokers say need the human touch.
They sort of come to you and they don't know a lot about the journey.
Amelia Brace, 7 News.
WA business leaders and politicians were out early this morning for the West Australians Leadership Matters breakfast at Crown. The keynote speaker today was Managing Director of Seven Group Holdings, Mr Ryan Stokes. Among the issues he canvassed was the impact of interest rates in Australia.
Strong leadership is important, and I recognise a task for the RBA to manage. The constrictive and inflationary impacts of higher rates and the lag effect of monetary policy suggests they should act in line with or ahead of the data, not after it.
Mr Stokes told the audience Australia is the lucky country in terms of resources, but warned green tape is getting in the way of productivity.
The brains behind a popular online art platform have again been crowned our richest young Australians. Melanie Perkins and Cliff Obrecht are a Perth couple who launched Canva more than a decade ago. They're now worth an estimated $14 billion. Also in this year's top 10 are Zambrero founder Sam Prince and Afterpay entrepreneur Nick Molnar.
We'll soon see new packaging for paracetamol, like Panadol, as part of a push to stop deadly overdoses. New laws will mean pack sizes are capped at 50 capsules or tablets. Anything bigger will only be available over the counter from chemists. The move is mandatory from February, but you'll start to notice the changes on shelves from next month. Christmas is creeping up on us, but we've enlisted some special help to make shopping easier. After sport, the best and most in-demand presents to snap up ahead of the festive season. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News.
But first, Ryan has sport. Ryan, it's heating up and the cricket's back.
Oh, it's going to be a sizzling summer ahead, Sue and Rick. After the break, we've got Aaron Hardy, Josh Hazlewood, Beck Grundy and the Optus wicket. Plus, Jack of new trade as a Bulldog star turns Saint. The reactions of ex-teammates to David Warner's offer of a Test comeback have been a little underwhelming. Alex Carey told 7 News he chuckled while Josh Hazlewood called it unlikely.
David Warner turns 38 next week, but he still doesn't think it's a long stretch for him to rejoin the Test team. Tomorrow, Josh Hazlewood will play his first Blues one-dayer for 3 years, alongside 19-year-old Sam Constas, a more realistic contender to open for Australia.
A couple of hundred, so pretty outstanding achievement at such a young age. I don't think anyone's too young.
Also boasting 2 Shield tons, WA's Josh Inglis, billed as Dave Warner 2.0.
Yeah, Josh Inglis has been awesome. I don't think he's opened the batting before in red ball cricket, but I'm sure if I asked him if he's willing to, I'm sure he'd say yes.
And as for a Dave Warner comeback,
I get a bit of a chuckle out of it. Look, he'd probably still do a great job, but I don't think it's a realistic opportunity.
I don't think there'll be a comeback, yeah.
And the WA boys haven't given up on Cam Bancroft yet either, despite him scoring just 10 runs in 4 Shield innings.
I spoke to him yesterday. He's in a really good place. He's experienced sort of these moments before. He's been close to the Test team before. He's found himself in, he's found himself out. He's certainly well equipped to handle what he's going through at the moment.
Men's international white ball cricket returns to Optus Stadium on the 10th of November with an ODI between Australia and Pakistan. The first test, known as the West Test, starts on November 22. Adrian Barrage, 7 News.
The WBBL season begins this weekend with the Scorchers taking on the Stars in their first match. Barra caught up with coach Beck Grundy this evening.
Thanks, Rhino. And Becky, yes, it is a blockbuster start, of course, but Sophie Devine still celebrating. She won't be playing?
No, they're currently in a game now playing India, so her and Hemalata will join us in Melbourne. So we missed both of those for the first game, but fortunately the draw means that we only miss them for one, so we'll get everyone together when we get over the East.
Now, I don't know if you know, but Alyssa Healy has tipped the Scorchers to win the title. What do you think about that?
Happy with that. Yeah, we're very happy with that. I'm surprised to hear that, but I'm happy all the same. We pushed ourselves. We got into the finals last year, but we need to go one better, and we'd love to be able to host at the Wacker.
Now, you've got a special strip for the day as well. Can we see it and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so our first game on Sunday is our Aboriginal game, So this is our strip that's designed by Linda Lou. The girls love being able to put it on, and we've got a barefoot circle as well to kick us off.
And a big fan day from 3 o'clock, and if people turn up, it's free entry.
Yeah, it is, and some of the male players are going to be around there, I think, so there's going to be a lot of activation for kids, but some of the male players will be there for them to get autographs and stuff, and hopefully the entertainment will be there at the same time.
Have a great season. Rhino, back to you.
Thanks, Barra. A home visit from Ross Lyon convinced Jack McRae to leave the Bulldogs for St Kilda. The 3-time All-Australian and Premiership star was phased out of the Dogs' midfield this year, sub in 3 of his last 4 games, but is convinced he's got plenty left in the tank.
It's really exciting. I feel a bit like a new draftee, getting text messages after it went through. In footy world, it's, life changes pretty quick. 2 or 3 years ago, I would have envisioned that I'd play, be a one-club player, but it hasn't worked out like that.
McRae played 259 games in 12 seasons at the Kennel. No one player can replace Bryce Cotton, so John really wants his whole team to chip in. Cotton will miss Friday's clash with Sydney on Friday night at RAC Arena after fracturing a rib in the loss to New Zealand.
It's just going to have to be like a group effort accumulation. It's going to be really exciting for me to see how this unfolds.
NBA prospect Dash Daniels is training with the Cats this week and may sign with the team as part of the Next Stars program.
Oh, look, he's one of the premier talents. He's only in grade 11 right now, so he's still got a lot of runway in his career. It's more a purpose for him and his family to be around us and see how we operate.
Dash's older brother Dyson was involved in a heated moment in the NBA this morning after this ugly foul. Daniels made his feelings clear to Brooklyn's Nick Claxton, who was ejected. Daniels finished with 15 points and 5 steals in the 4-point win over the Nets. Ben Simmons scored 6 points. Wins, an entertaining style and a top 10 ranking. They're Ellie Carpenter's non-negotiables for the next Matildas coach. The upcoming friendlies against Switzerland and Germany under interim Tom Sermani are a chance to reset.
This is the start of a new cycle. He's all in with us, 100%, and I think that's important to have that right from the get-go.
After 21 years and more than 600 races, Doonside's Mark Frosty Winterbottom will finish up as a full-time driver at the end of the season. Let go by Team 18, the 2015 Supercars champion couldn't find a new home for next season.
I wanted to get it out so then I can enjoy the last 2 rounds, just to say goodbye on my terms and do it the way I wanted it to be done.
Ahead of practice tomorrow, Thomas Randall and Andrew Heimgartner hit the water for some jet boating. And we've been tracking the Backyard Ultra Marathon over the road at Herdsman Lake. It all came to an end around 4 a.m. Team Belgium victorious, setting a new world record. Each of their best 3 runners clocked up 737 kilometres in 5 days, the equivalent of 17 and a half marathons. West Aussie Phil Gore led Australia to a second place finish. He ran 643 kilometres and is hopefully resting somewhere with his feet up. It is just unfathomable to me how they can do that.
Incredible.
And Ryan, we know you like running. Can you confirm for us what some people ask us, that we don't wear shorts under the deck?
No, I have pants on.
I can tell from here he's got long pants. Thank you, Ryan. Well, Christmas is just under 9 weeks away and festive wish lists are looking long.
To make shopping easier, we've enlisted some pint-sized toy testers who know the importance of play.
Tiny tester Alice is taking toy duties very seriously.
That was good though.
One of 9 little legends reviewing Amazon's top 100 toy list. Helping big kids tackle the gift-giving grind by testing out this year's must-haves, including an interactive kid camera, $79, Barbie unicorn set, $88, and Puny Roon's virtual pet, $49. But there was a clear standout.
It's a fart gun.
For $49, it shoots out rings of fog, lights up, has 15 different sounds, and emits a smell. Every parent's favourite combination.
Every time we want to play with it, to Mum and Dad tells us to play with it outside.
It is incredibly stinky. However, the kids have had a ball playing with that one.
If you're looking to give that one a wide berth, there are plenty of other budget-friendly buys.
We've got a whole range of toys that are under $25.
Well, who better to test these presents than the kids, giving uninspired parents some ideas for Christmas, which is right around the corner.
Some of these toys will be on sale during our Black Friday sale event.
Keeping the kids and wallet grinning. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Sam Jolly's back and it's been a hot Thursday, Sam.
And it's been even hotter than we were expecting, Rick. We do have some scorchers coming next week. I'll have your weekend forecast next as well.
Tonight, showdown in the Pacific. We cross to Samoa. The PM feels the heat at Chogum. We'll have the very latest. More on that terrorist attack in Turkey. And we'll meet a remarkable Australian researcher fighting to beat the world's most aggressive cancer in children. The latest after 10:30.
Welcome back. It was even hotter than expected today. We made it to almost 30 degrees in the city at 12:30. Hotter still for the Swan Valley, Ellenbrook and the airport, 31 degrees there today. But a big difference along our coast. It was only 22 at Hillary's. We had 26 for Swanbourne and 24 in Mandurah. Right now it's dropped to 20 degrees. The winds are southwesterly at 13 kilometres an hour. We have a bit of a heatwave coming next week with a high and a deepening west coast trough working together to give us a summery burst. Let's take a look at the national forecast now. A morning shower for Melbourne tomorrow, hot and stormy in Brisbane, 19 degrees for Canberra. And statewide, 42, the top for Kununurra and Marble Bar tomorrow. It's looking quite windy for Geraldton, a scorching 38 for Kalgoorlie, and then much milder 23 for Bunbury and for Busselton. So we're dropping to 12 tonight before a mostly sunny 25 tomorrow. We could get morning fog in our southwest. And for the weekend, a cloudy morning Saturday, 24 the top. It's looking sunny and 28 on Sunday. Then we do have a bit of a spring heat wave. 33 Monday, 35 Tuesday, and then a couple of scorches, sunny and 37 degrees for both Wednesday and Thursday with hot nights, 21 and 22 degrees. We could see some heat records broken next week. And we have some special milestones this evening. Happy 60th wedding anniversary to John and Eve Brooker. They have 3 children, 6 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. And congratulations to Milton and Irene James of Palmyra, married on this day 65 years ago. They have 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. Happy anniversary to both our couples. Now let's go to Mark Lacroix, who has your boating and fishing details.
Well, there's a bit of wind around over the next few days, but it's still a great time of year to be around the water. Let's check it out.
Expect southerly winds 15 to 25 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres, increasing to 2 metres around midday, and a southwesterly swell around a metre, increasing to 1.5 metres during the morning. The high tide in Freo's at 12:14am, the lows at 2:06pm, similar times up at Hillary's. If you're keen on a surf, it's looking pretty rubbish tomorrow. There's not a lot of swell around and the winds are looking better towards the end of the weekend, so maybe wait it out. If you're wetting a line, some big tailor have been caught in the gutters between Port Beach and Floreat, with afternoons working best. Plenty of sand whiting and herring have been caught just out from Woodman's Point, and the odd yellowtail kingfish has been showing up around Mewstones. And check out these awesome viewer pics. Josh Crothers reeled in this mighty pink snapper from S-Bend up near Geraldton. Anthony Mafrici scored this fat King George whiting just off Hillary's. And how good is this Spanish mackerel from Sam Denning in her tinning up near Dampier? Keep the awesome catches coming, guys. You and your families have also hooked yourself a $200 service voucher from Automasters. Drop us a line to fishing@7.com.au for your chance to win an Automasters voucher too.
Well, have a great day, hopefully somewhere around the water, and I'll catch you again tomorrow night.
Thank you, Mark. Now for the full draw of tonight's $30 million Powerball jackpot. Good luck.
Good evening, Summer Burke here and welcome to tonight's Powerball draw number 1484. Here with me as always are our draw officials and government supervisor. If you won Division 1 in Powerball, you could do almost anything. Cross those fingers because the total Division 1 prize pool tonight, if won, is a staggering $30 million. To win the Division 1 prize, you'll need to match all 7 winning numbers plus the Powerball. And first out tonight, we have balls number 33 and 5. Last week's Powerball draw had 4 lucky Division 2 winning entries, each take home over $139,000. Congratulations to those lucky winners. Who knows, maybe tonight you can find out how good that feeling is. But you will need ball number 8 and number 22. The party might not end tonight. If there is no Division 1 winner, the Powerball prize pool will jackpot to a breathtaking $50 million in next week's draw. So make sure you grab your Powerball ticket each week. You will also need balls number 14, 9 and 1. Now on to the all-important Powerball. While we wait, let's recap those numbers. We have 33, 5, 8, 22, 14, 9, 1 and the Powerball is number 2. Well, I certainly hope they were your winning numbers. Congratulations and good night.
And that's 7 News on this warm Thursday night. We'll be back with updates throughout the evening.
You can always know the news immediately by going to 7news.com.au. Enjoy the rest of your night here on 7.